Okay.
Feel like a star.
So thank you for your time. Actually.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Louise.
time. Wow, I'm
Yeah.
privileged to be interviewed by you two.
We will not like show the whole video.
No, thank God.
No, so from
Keep the
mainly,
best part.
mainly we will take out some footage and mainly for the so that we can remember what we are asking.
Oui.
Yeah, and I will ask about some basic information like figures and like the way of organization and also some of the questions that we see or that we had during the way like to being in the performance or in a festival, and then if you have like if I ask you because I don't think you will know all the figures that I want
No.
to ask, so you can send me later.
Yeah.
Yes, and then maybe after that we will also discuss a little bit more. If according to your response we have more questions. So I hope it will take like 1 hour.
Okay.
Maybe.
1 hour.
How long we take with Thomas? That's 2 hours.
You mean
Oh,
Blair?
With
really?
Blair,
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
almost. Yeah, we talk,
Oh.
yeah, and yeah, quite sometimes with Ria also with.
Even we
Really
talk
also.
more beyond the festival, like as an artist,
Yeah.
how to go. That's
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
we get into a discussion with you because it's
Yes.
nice.
Yes.
It's rare that we take the time to discuss about our profession.
Yes, and how does this whole things like actually originate, how it's born, and how does it grow, and then well, everyone has
Yeah.
part of.
Yeah.
It's very touching to know and to review.
Wow, it's wonderful what you're doing.
So I will start with some figures. So we would like to know about the team first, like how many staff because this is the 20th editions. So how many staff maybe at the beginning and now how many staff you have and maybe in terms of volunteers. Do you I saw there are volunteers that helps the parade, right? Is it only volunteer or you still have other
No, we have employees who helped also. I will start from the beginning. I started Castellier in 2006, and it was with colleagues, but it we didn't have no money. We were really starting, so it was. I remember I was doing everything. On opening night, I was with my high heel shoes, and I was putting risers, moving risers. You mean doing everything?
Yes.
But it was already a nice step. But I worked from home for the first 4 editions because I had no office. And then afterward, every year after 2006, the festival came back and always at the same theater in Outremont. So it gave us this anchorage also, and it became a bit bigger every time. And so, like I said earlier, in 2010, the borough were realizing all we did, so they said we asked and they said yes. They offered us graciously an office in their cultural center. So it was a big step for us because it allowed me to hire someone for the first time in 2010. And
2010.
yes, yeah. Because I would hire freelance if I needed help for production directing and graphic design, web design. I would work with colleagues, being so generous often not to charge much because it was starting. But like I said, in 2010 we could hire first employee.
Yeah.
And in 2000
For, to help you forward.
to help with
All the
with everything, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was also the year I could start to pay myself some because I did it for free for many years.
Really?
Yeah, because I had a part-time job and the last part-time, the half job, and then the other half I would give to Castellier, but it became too much after a while. So in 2006, 2012, I had to quit the other job and devote myself completely to Castellier. And this is when I could also I could earn a living doing it. But so now, and so as the years go by, we got 2 employees and then 3. But when we got the house, we needed a bigger team because we have also a season. We do a festival, but we have a season. We present shows during the year and different festivals around town. And we also organize these residencies and the cultural outreach. So with the house, it implied that we had 2 full-time employees here for technical production and coordination. So now we are 8 employees, 6 full-time and 2 part-time.
Okay.
And
So
the big step was also 4 years ago. We divided. I was always a general manager and artistic director, and the last few before the pandemic, we were co-directing. There was someone in administration with me, but afterwards, that's when we hired Geneviève. It's 4 years ago, and now we split the position, my position. So we really split it in half. So she's general director, executive manager, and I am artistic director. So, but we work in the same office, you see. But this was a big change in the organization, and it was a big help also because Geneviève is an exquisite director, manager. So she can structure a team, and she's responsible of human resources and administration. So her knowledge is really complementary to mine. So it was necessary at that point to get someone who can run a business. Because I'm much more an organic leader. I'm not a manager. So I did it, but. So am I answering your question? And for the festival, of course, we hire many freelance. We have freelance designer, web designer, freelance graphic designer, and public relations. And also we hire Pavla, who's doing all the logistics. And and we also have more than 25 volunteers for the festival also. Doing front house.
Do you have idea like how many freelance you involved in the team?
For the festival, well, there's the technicians. We also hire some technicians, but freelance, I would say regulars. It's 4, 5, 4 or 5. Because like I said, public relations, web design, graphic design, translation. Because we translate all our promotion material in French and English.
Okay, so the 8 members are more or less like for the whole facility here.
And the season and the festival, yeah.
So 4 times bigger. 4 times bigger than the 2010.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. But also it's because of the house.
Yeah.
Before we moved, we had this office at the cultural center I was telling you about, and it was about this big. And the last year there were 5 of us. It was like really, it was time to move out. And so when we got into this house, and now you see many people come in and work also in the open space.
And speaking of the festival, how many venues you have, guys?
Well, it depends on the festival. This year, I think we have 7 or 8. Depending on the shows we invite, we collaborate with different theaters. So, Théâtre aux Écuries, Maison Théâtre, au Bourreau, l'école PGLO.
And the high school.
The high school, yeah. So all the places, the theaters we always use is Théâtre Outremont. That's where we started, and the school, PGLO. And often we show shows here at the Miam. Not this year; it was not in the program, didn't fit. But usually, since we're open in the festival, we always presented an intimate form, and it's a wonderful space for that. And au Bourreau also, where you saw the performance, La Patience des choses, the performing installation with the. So those are regular collaborators, and Théâtre aux Écuries also, where you saw Car and Vague. So those are regulars, and depending on the other shows, for example, this year was the first time we worked with Théâtre La Maison Théâtre, where we saw L'Enfant Mascara yesterday. So I was very happy that for our 20th anniversary, we would collaborate with them because they're a renowned theater for youth. Voilà.
Do you have to pay them?
We have different ways of collaboration. Sometimes we rent their space and we pay for all the staff, and others we do collaboration. We pay fees, they pay space and staff, and we share the revenues. Other times, yeah, we're very flexible, and depending on the show, and so we voilà. But for the for the festival, for the Théâtre Outremont, during the festival we rent it. We rent the space and we pay for the technicians, and also for the box office, the ticket sales, and voilà.
Okay. So how many shows here in this festival this year?
This year we have 10 shows with plus one La Patience des Choses, the performance. Yeah.
But they performed several times.
Yes,
right?
yes. It was 10 different performances,
10.
plus the exhibition performance at the Oboro. And also we had 3 exhibits, like you saw the virtual exhibit from Spain, from Germany, and we have this big exhibit next door, which you saw. We're so proud of this 20 years of Castelier exhibit, which you saw.
And a lot of exhibition on the window.
Yes, that's a really wonderful thing that I think it's started in 2012. Yeah, that we started to present in the shop windows different. Usually we put puppets from professionals, and after every year we would do that, and then for the last few years we highlighted a company or a puppet maker, and it's his or her work that will be in all the windows. And this year especially is a bit different because we wanted to involve the community, because it was our 20th anniversary. So it was devoted to cultural outreach projects around the animals that live in the city. So that's why you see them all over the So it was it's very nice, because usually there's around 30 shop windows, and it creates a oomph for the event, because it starts mid-February. So people, when they see the puppets coming in the shop windows, they say, "Oh, festival is coming!" Yeah.
That's such a great
Yeah, it's a very good strategy for promoting the art form.
And the puppet is created by the community.
This year, yes, it's created by students in different schools all around Montreal, and also by families. We give workshops here on some Sundays, some Saturdays, during the seasons. And so this year was very much community, but it's a first. It was for the 20th celebration, and also it had to do with the parade you saw today.
Yes.
It is also the parade of animals that live in the city, so that's why there was a pigeon, a big squirrel, and the birds that we made. So it was all this concept of this year, the community involvement, and the way they responded. I'm so pleased. The parade, we didn't know what to expect, because we don't usually, it's the first one. So the answer, so we were very happy about the response, and very lucky for the weather.
Yes.
So when you said you want to do this and have every shop window have our puppet, how do you find it difficult, or do you find it the community is like all the shop are very welcoming to you?
And like I said, now it's a tradition. So at the beginning, colleagues of mine who started this idea, they went to every shop and they asked, and they say, "Oh, okay," and they saw that it would bring a lot of not customers but onlookers. People would stop and take pictures and go in the store, so they really like it, because it's very fun. So and it's Pavla whom you met. Pavla is wonderful, and she's curating every year. She's in charge of choosing the puppets and installing them, because it's a lot of work. So for the 2 weeks before the opening of this exhibition, she works very hard to prepare everything and put everything so they look at their best.
And
so
have
now
to communicate with the shop also.
Yes, but like I said, now it's because it's it has become a tradition. They are very happy about it, and they always say see you next year. And there's those are the streets mainly around here, but this year also we had a few other windows in the Outremont Street, but a bit further, so it's nice, the impact is growing.
Yes, that's nice.
And in you said you have like 10 performances, and I don't have outdoor space, right?
No, because it's
It's so
March.
yeah.
It's really too unpredictable.
Uh-huh.
Now you see, this year we had snow, we had rain, we had ice, we had
Sunshine.
wind, and now we have sunshine. And last year there was no snow. A few years ago there was this much snow, and so
Yeah.
it's too unpredictable to. So it was a gamble this year to say, because we had a plan B. You know, at noon, if it was rainy or windy, we say okay, we cancel. But it's so that's why I don't push it, this outside performances. But we have outside performances during our season. In August we start every season with
Summertime.
August we present 3 shows in different parks of Outremont. Every Sunday we present a different show, and from abroad and from here, and it's really a lovely activity because it starts the season, and it reaches, it's free, it's in the parks, and it's presented with the borough, and it touches a lot of families, and it gives the go for the season. We can announce we will present all through the year with the festival.
And so that means that every shows you sell tickets. So do you know how many tickets in total to sell?
This festival? I don't know yet, but I can send it to you later. I think it must be good because the houses were full. And
Do you have idea like according to maybe past edition, like where are the audience from? Are they all from Montreal or from other city?
Yes, we're now having surveys, and because of the postal codes when they buy their ticket, most of them come from Montreal, the boroughs here and around, and also from outside the island, and more from the other. Ontario or other provinces, and also some people from the States are coming up. So it's very exciting, and many people from the Quebec area, because as you saw, I think it brings the whole milieu together. So puppeteers from Quebec City, Saguenay, and a lot of people come for the festival. So it reaches most of the professionals.
That question I will ask you later about the position, but I would like to know what do you have the idea about the ages of the audience?
The ages, well, that's what we present shows for children to adults. So sometimes we have shows, we had not very often, but sometimes we have performances for very young, like from 3 months to 3 years. This year we didn't have any, so this year we started the shows for 5 years old and up. But it depends on the programming, but we always try to present a nice ratio of children, adult, half and half, and also half and half of abroad and from here and Canada also. And sometimes the program is 10 to 12 performances.
But mainly the shows that we attend is mainly the audience is mainly adults. So I don't see much.
This year was a different ratio. There were less shows for family. It happens.
and also this is not. This is so common that we go across the globe that even we see puppet show most of the time the adult is the main part.
Even for children. It's because it's a festival. Professionals are interested to see what's cooking.
It's very different. Like I think the West more audiences are adults, but for the East, like in the Asian part,
probably.
Like, in China, most of them is a family.
Are we? But us, in the season, if we present a show for family, it will be family, really full of children. But festival, it's family, but also so many professionals want to see the French performance, for example, Un Océan d'Amour. It's for 7 years old, but many people.
I saw that too.
It's for all public, starting at 7 or 8. But of course, it was filled with adults because they're so people they are interested to see, and so that's a festival feeling.
Okay, and this year I see that you have different price for the tickets.
Yes, it's the second year we do this inclusive ticketing.
Do you have a result that they pay higher than the regular or?
Yes, we have a we can tell at the end how many people got the lowest and the highest. And last year it was the first time we tried this, and it was a big success because not so many people paid the high price, but they bought more tickets at the low price.
Yes.
So they see more shows, and so it was very, very successful last year. And so this year we tried it again, and I will be able to tell you later if it was as successful. But I think so.
Okay.
People enjoy it also, and but I cannot tell you right now. I think before the festival started, the average was people paying the reduced price, not the lowest, the second.
Okay. Okay. But more people than the edition before.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I will tell you the final numbers later. I don't have them now, but the last year it was our biggest audience ever. We reached more than 3,000 tickets sold, so it was a record.
So in terms of the money from the ticket, it is better.
Yes. More attendance and more money. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see this year. I'll let you know.
And can you tell me like the scale of the budget for the festival and also like the distribution? You pay more for PR, for example, or what for the shows or the whole budget?
We have now for the Castellier's budget for the year, including the festival, is around $1 million.
Including the
everything. Yeah. Festival season, building, and maintenance, and so this is our working from not. It's all not funding, it includes, this is the cost, the revenues is funding and tickets and also private funding.
Yes.
We make also collect the fundraising, so, but that's about our yearly budget
1
now,
million.
and we started 20 years ago with a $25,000 budget, so so it's a big increase, it's great. But also the expenses grew, and we have funding, but it's still very, very fragile. So we have to be very tight on. Geneviève is really good at it to keep the budget tight, because everywhere right now the culture cuts, and the culture is under a lot of sufferance. So we have to be very careful, and so.
But this 1 million is like for the whole year, for every
It's for
activity,
salaries, it's for fees, it's for all the,
And it's hard for you to separate the one for the festival, right?
Well,
because the staff is the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the staff is
facilities.
So if you don't put my salary in the festival, but I'm that Geneviève could answer you better regarding this, because she's the one doing the accounting, and but maybe festival, it's a few hundred thousand, just for activities, and not much.
And you said you get money from 3 level of the government.
Yeah.
And then from private funders.
And
then
from ticket
ticketing.
sale, and also from fundraising.
Who is the biggest funder for this in terms of this?
The government. Government is what? The biggest fund. The Quebec. Quebec now is Quebec is the biggest. It's Quebec, Canada, and then city.
Quebec, Canada, and the city. Oh.
Yeah.
Is it?
But this is for fonctionnement. It's mission. Yeah. Also, we ask for many grants every year for different specific projects. That's the way also why we can get more money and get to this number of. So we used to do more than 30 grant applications a year.
So just now.
30.
Or more.
Wow.
Just now you said because you need another funding to bring all these presenters aboard.
Yeah, this is another demand, because it's not part of our function, our mission, but it's our mission, but it's not. We call it the fonctionnement. That's the name. We are subsidized to function. But the guest presenters it's a separate, it's a special project.
Yeah.
So we ask for 2 grants for that, and so this is one example. For the parade, we ask for another grant. For this, we ask for another grant, and then so
Okay.
it's for to do cultural outreach, different specific projects. We ask for grants, and for residencies also we ask for grant for the international residencies, and so
Okay.
it's they exist. It's very demanding. When we get them, we're very proud, but when we don't.
So and then you need to do a lot of different reports to
Absolutely,
different
yeah.
parties.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
what
can
is
imagine.
the good thing is now we are subsidized on a multi-year. So last year was very tough because we presented 3 grant applications, federal, provincial, municipal, for 4 years. So we spent the whole year writing these big projects.
Oh
my
But
God.
now this part is done, so for the next 3 years we don't have to ask for that funding again, but still we have to write reports, and ask for all the other projects that
accountings, yeah.
So you're able to present, like bring in presenter from abroad, like maybe cover their accommodation, transport,
it pays for the grant, for example. It pays for your accommodation, and for the to pay for the shuttle, and but it doesn't pay for the ticket, so we provide the ticket.
So do they have some requirement for you
Yeah.
to accomplish?
Yeah, they are for presenters or journalists.
So you need to like bring in, for example, how many numbers of presenter.
Yes,
Okay.
and afterwards we have to write a report. What were the outcomes? Of course, it's not a short-term thing.
Yes.
I keep repeating, it's more middle and long-term, because meetings you do today, maybe in 2 years you will invite a company, for example.
Yes.
So they understand that, but we have to make reports, and that's why we also ask the companies or you to let us know what happened afterwards. So what was the outcome, so we can put in.
Yeah. We are very interested in one giant puppet company. The
Imagicario?
Cario.
They're wonderful.
Yes, I think
they are so good.
We'll try our best to get them.
Oh,
Yeah.
bien.
Yes,
Bien.
it's very nice. Yeah.
Because in our case, we bring in small team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can do it by
they're
2
2
person,
yeah.
and everything can be in a suitcases, exactly like ours. Yeah.
And they are very intricate creatures. We love them.
Yes. And in like all these like numbers and figures is like the what we see as the festival. But what is the beginning? Like 2006, you said. What makes you want to make a festival?
Yeah, that's a question too.
It's
Why start it without any money? Like
Yeah.
you don't have anything. Like what's
well, the
wrong
way
with you?
how it started is that I worked at the Conservatoire d'Art Dramatique in Montreal. It's a professional theater school, and I worked there for 23 years as a stage technician, props mistress, sometimes set designer, and I started to really get involved into puppets, and I like building puppets and masks. I don't perform, but I build. And after studying for 1 year in France, I had this opportunity in 91, 92. I went to the Charleville School, which was giving a special 1 year class about building techniques. So I had the opportunity to go there, and that's when my life changed because I opened up to, oh my God, international puppetry arts. And this school was so fantastic. Every week you meet somebody new, a master coming in. So when I came back after that year, I started again my work at the Conservatoire, but I got
Montreal.
I got involved with the Quebec Puppeteers Association. I became a member, and so I worked for them. Not work, it was free, but I was the secretary of the board for 6 years, so I got to know the milieu very well. And then afterwards, there's still a festival in Saguenay up north, and I did the artistic direction of this festival for it's a biennial, so it was 2002, 2004. I was artistic director for them, so it was a part-time job I could do with the Conservatoire. And then in 2004, I was living in Montreal, and I said there's such a big need in Montreal for professional presenters in puppetry arts. So I said, okay, I'm going to start Castelier in 2005. And a friend of mine who was working at Théâtre Outremont, she was the cultural agent at that time, she said, oh, you start Castelier, do you want to do a festival in March break, because we don't have anything at the theater? That's how it started.
In March?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I didn't start Castelier to make a festival. I started Castelier to do a few presentations, start slowly. So when she proposed that to me, I said, oh, wow, okay. So I was with a few colleagues and we did this first 3-day festival. It was called the 3 Days de Castelier. And that time we were at Théâtre Outremont and they helped us, they were giving us the space and the tickets sales, but we paid technicians. But they were they were supportive, and because she wanted that, and that year it was very funny because all the audience was on stage. We had 103 seats. We had rented seats from an old theater. So and then the short forms were all on stage except for the last show on the Saturday, which was a main stage show, and it was a big success. That's one thing I'm very proud of is then when we started, the professionals were really behind us and being very generous and because they wanted this to happen and they were all there and 20 years later they're still all there, and that's what touches me a lot. You saw everybody's holding on and the oof, and so we are very good, we're very dynamic and helping community. So that's what I'm proud about, the presence of to keep the professionals around.
This is a question hanging over for a few days. I believe that Quebec has a very strong connection with the French culture, and they in French culture, of course, they're very into marionette puppetry like this. So is it a special position for Quebec or for Montreal comparing to the other part of the Canada?
Yes.
That you have a lot of puppet culture.
And I would say it's because of it's French, but it's also for me it's because of one pioneer. Her name is Micheline Legendre. She was a very well-known puppeteer, and she went to study in France in the 50s, in the late 40s after the war, and she came back and she started her company here, and she was doing marionette, and she trained a lot of young.
Literally the first one.
And many of her students started their companies afterwards. And she was considering puppetry as an art form from the beginning. And for her, she was a very cultivated woman, she was a musician and historian. And so she did beautiful shows, and she considered marionette as an art form. And so I think that's what already gave the first push here to recognize this art form, not only for amateurs and in the 70s. So in the 70s, many companies started, and also they started to teach puppetry at the university, which is amazing. So I think this history built up, and that's why Quebec became very dynamic, more than some other provinces. Ontario also had a very dynamic scene. Now after a while it tuned down, but it's starting again. But Quebec is really the most dynamic in Canada. But now we have the association started in 1991, and in 1981 and 1986 they became the Unima Center Canada Section Québec. So Unima has played a very important role in the development of the Quebec Puppetry
Unima
Society.
Canada, but then you have Unima Quebec.
Now we have Unima Canada, and we have 4 sections. We have West, we have Ontario, we have Quebec, and we have Maritimes. So it's a really
it's so big.
it's because it's geographically so big. So that's why. But we are all under the roof of Unima Canada, but different sections. And now we are really getting to work very well together, and trying to also, we're developing this pan-Canadian presenting network. So shows coming here can go to Ontario and then to Calgary, and so it's important. And we've been doing that from the beginning at Castelier, working in collaboration with different organizations, because we didn't have a house. So also maybe I'm transgressing, but big partners right from the beginning was the AQM and also the Quebec, the university, where they give puppet classes. And at the university in 2007 they started to give this new master level course in contemporary puppet theater.
So they teach build puppet,
perform, right? Yeah. So and since then it's a 2-year course, and since then we see the difference. Like this Graceland you saw yesterday was an outspurt of that, and also VAG. They are graduates, and it gives such a push to the profession.
Yeah,
also
provide a seat in next generation.
Yeah. So also that's why Quebec is very dynamic with puppetry arts.
Can you name how many puppet artists here in Quebec?
Well,
Or in Montreal?
there's more than 40 companies in Quebec, professional companies,
Wow.
more than 40, and certainly a few hundred puppeteers, I would say. Certainly. Yeah.
In Quebec.
In Quebec, yeah.
In Montreal?
Many are in Montreal. I don't know the exact number, but many are in Montreal because of the size of the city. But also we have very good companies in Trois-Rivières, Quebec City, Saguenay. It's yeah.
And the population of Quebec?
Quebec is 8 million.
8 million. But that's a lot. That's a big.
Yeah,
ratio.
like I say, it's an art form that has many interestees.
8 million people, but 40 plus company.
So when you say there's more than 40 puppet companies only in Quebec, so when you do the curation for the festival, because you have 10 programs, but half of them may be already from abroad, but you can only choose half.
Yeah. So
how does it go?
Well, I always work with. Maybe you can turn on the light if you switch the.
Okay.
Because it's getting a bit dark.
Yes.
Good. Okay. We since the beginning I work with an artistic committee. So I work with 4 or 5 other people who are puppeteers or teachers or very much involved in the world, and they travel, and so we get together every 2 or 3 months, and we talk about what we've seen and what we would like to present, and so it's I really like to work like that, but of course I'm the one making the final decision. But it's very interesting to have these meetings, first of all, because like I said earlier, it's really seldom that we allow ourselves to sit down and talk about our profession and talk about different works, and so it's fantastic occasions to discuss, and this is a way I like to work very much, and so we receive a lot of propositions, of course, but we make decisions of quality, originality, craftsmanship are our first filters
So
for criteria.
It's like from the committee. It's not like someone can apply for.
It's not open call.
It's not open
No,
call.
no.
So
curation.
So these four to 5, including you.
It's 5 now.
It's 5.
Yeah, it's always 5. Yeah, I should say 5. Yeah.
5 committees, including.
No. 5 person in the committee.
5 persons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't do open calls, but we receive a lot of. I'm always interested to receive dossiers, and we mostly all the time choose from seeing the work, even the international work, except if I have extremely good recommendation. But the important things for me is to see me or my colleagues to see the actual work, except for some new creations like. A project really interests us, and you want to say, okay, I will collaborate with this, so we are open to that too.
And I see, except for the one from Czech, mainly is from French speaking.
This not. We always have a company from France, but because of this, this year is very European. You're right. Last year we had someone from Korea. Show with string. And this year we feel this year I'm very proud because we have 2 shows by the First Nations, because of course we are really conscientious to include the diversity and include First Nations. So it's also criteria to give them space. Like this show Manatazis is a new creation, but it was very interesting to work with contemporary musician so this was a good project. But this year, it's quite European, but often we had shows from Poland, from Lithuania, from Italy, from India, from China. So depending on the edition, Mexico, of course, and
Which one from China?
it was supposed to be Mulan by the Shanghai Puppet Theater.
Oh, that is the
The
Mulan,
one-
yeah.
The shadow,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
But you know,
I was directing for them too in the
Oh,
Shanghai.
really?
Yeah,
Ah.
Shanghai Puppet
they were
Theater.
our opening show on the 2020, but it was
2020,
beginning of March, so they
Yeah.
couldn't come
Oh,
because
yeah.
the pandemic had
Oh.
started for them.
What?
Yireng.
Oh, it's because of
Yeah.
the lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah, but us we were still okay, you know. So the
Yeah.
festival was the 4th to 8th of March.
Yeah.
So we just got, and 12th of March the world closed. But that year we had many presenters from all over the world. 4 days before the pandemic. But that year China was supposed to be opening the festival. So in January they wrote and they said we have a pandemic here, we cannot come. So what we did, we presented instead the film of Mulan, not the film, but the caption, the caption of their show, which was Shadow Theater. So it made sense, and it was not but that's how we could turn again around it.
It's lucky. Oh, unlucky.
Yeah. But also we had people from Greece. No, we tried to go, but it's. Of course, the French connection is similar. For the last 2 years, the opening show is from Belgium, and there. So, but we try to present. We don't mind if it's from a different language because it's so visual. For example, the show we had from Slovenia. We had a show from Slovenia, and it was for a family. So what they could. It was little text, but still they were talking, and what we had a French narrator next to the stage, so he would resume the action once in a while. So I like it also when it's in a different language. Called car, I liked it when they speak Czech and English and French.
I love that so much.
I love it, but most we are French Canadian, French speaking community. So we work in French and we present beautiful shows in French or in other languages. If they're in other languages, we make sure they're translated into French. And if we present companies, when they bring their English titles, they're welcome because they know. Also, we have a big English community. But we focus on French understanding. But because it's so much without words, puppets, that's what we like. We can touch many different cultures.
So just now you said the community is mainly French speaking, maybe 60-40?
In Montreal, no, it's 70 something, but Montreal is very bilingual. Bilingual, yeah. If you go out of Montreal, it's much more all French speaking, But what did I want to say? So we can present shows for adults in English with subtitles in French, but for kids we cannot present a show in English because they cannot read subtitles. So we have to be careful about that, and we say no. We will choose or if we can manage to have a narrator or something. But there are wonderful children show in English, but we cannot present them if it's not.
So any special program you do with the kids or families? Like just now you said the parade, so they have workshop to make the puppet together. And do you have any other activities or events that like?
Yes, also yes, because thanks to the Miam, we give.
Now you have the space.
Yes, so like I said, we have a Marionnette Cafe, and so twice every season we welcome families downstairs on Saturday morning and afternoon, and it's families from new migrants, families who just arrived, and with families that are established, and we put them around this big table with their kids, and they build a puppet together. We do a special workshop, and they can have a coffee, and so it's to chill. It's a 2-hour workshop just to help them get away from the pressure of migrating and make new contacts with families here. So this is it's been going on for 4 years now. It's so successful, so we keep doing it.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, Marionnette Cafe. And we also do...
So how do you find this family?
We work with an organization that works with these, welcome the new families,
Okay.
and they help us. And here we ask the borough, or we work with the Outremont en Famille, which is an organization, Families of Outremont. And
Outremont is the location of
the
the
borough.
district.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the district. Yeah, yeah. And there's many families in Outremont, and also we do, like I said, special projects for outreach. Is for example, we do a intergenerational project with teenagers and old age people. And we did a spectacular one after the pandemic, where we would team a teenage and an old person, and they would do a nice shadow theater about an experience in their house during the pandemic. And it was such a successful experience because it broke the isolation of the old people, and the young, they felt very much comforted to be listened to and not be shy that their peers would laugh about them. And so
Yeah,
I
this is what
really,
happened.
yeah. And honestly, they would come out of the workshop and they were crying. So, so this is lovely to develop, and we are developing a new one starting next month about the stop motion animation, also teenage and elderly.
Yes.
And we also give building classes. It's a 12-week class to learn to build a tabletop puppet, and it's for adults, but not. And so this is very successful. Also, we've been doing it for years. Even before we were here, we would do it at the cultural center. We would set up every day the thing, every week. But now it's perfect. And so this is examples of what we do to involve the community. But the parade and the fest this year, we're very proud because it was the concept. It was we gave workshops. All you see in the shop windows, it was built during the fall and January in many schools around town. And we have a team. It's called l'équipe école, school team, and there are five or six artists devoted, very expert in dealing with children, and so
just go to different schools and work with them.
And also what we do regularly all through the years is before we would give workshops in the school.
Is that yours?
Yeah, it's mine. Do you mind?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that's interesting. I want to tell you that.